Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Red Bull Battlegrounds. DC, what is up? This weekend, 8 players, all champions in their own right. They have been qualifying all year long at the Red Bull Circuit events, and it ends with the grand final event starting today.
8 players qualified. We got 3 Terrans, 3 Protoss, and 2 Zergs. And today and tomorrow we get to find out which race is the best in StarCraft 2 Day 9.
That's right, literally perfect balance, because it's perfectly balanced in the meta right now. Ah, Todd. Now, all these players who are here today, as we said, qualified as a champion of a previous event. Some are no surprises, SOS and Parting, the second and first place from last year's Red Bull Battleground event. Pult, not a big surprise to see him here. I mean, he had a little bit of a struggle. He was great at getting second place, but that doesn't really matter in the qualifiers. You have to win first place, and as you see on the chart, the last stop at Detroit was where he managed to get the win to be here today.
Yeah, we got a few surprises, you know, in those qualifiers. Cure, one guy who kind of came out of nowhere and started taking names left and right. He's been playing very impressively, and he qualified, I think, in the most convincing fashion, just crushing everybody on his path. The return of one of the Dongs, Dong Regu, also a very stacked tournament, you know. He ended up taking out Solar against everybody else expectations, and yeah, all of these players, man, they're in shape and they're ready to do some damage here.
Yeah, and this event, remember, is the final of the Red Bull Circuit and also part of the WCS global ranking system. It's a WCS 2,000 points tournament because in StarCraft 2 everything is connected. At all the tournaments throughout the year, players are gathering points to qualify for the World Championship at BlizzCon at the end of the year. And this is one of the last times where people actually get a few more points to hopefully qualify. If we take a look at the top 8 rankings, there's a lot of names that are not surprising to see up there. If you've watched any amount of tournaments, you see Hyun keeps winning and whatnot, but Pult, Bomber, 2 of the players that are at this event already qualified for the grand finals. They are guaranteed to be at the finals at BlizzCon at the end of the year. But 9th through 16th is a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, it's really where it gets interesting and where we could see movement before the end of the current season, before BlizzCon. Everybody wants to try and squeeze into the top 16. You can see from the 9th to 16th position, only 500 points difference. That's like a finals, which sounds like a lot, but any of these players that are behind this top 16 could actually make it.
Yeah, and even if you go all the way down to 32nd, 17th through 32nd, all the way up to 9th, has an extremely tiny differential between them. So all the players here, again, this is one of the last big chances. And if we look at their point ranking, I mean, we already talked about Pult and Bomber being guaranteed to advance. SOS, the world champion last year, he still has a chance of not qualifying for BlizzCon. SOS is very, very close to the edge. Scarlet as well in 24th place. She needs not just a win here, but also to do well in WCS America if she wants to get to the World Championship.
And then we have guys like Cure, who, as I said before, kind of came out of nowhere and just started taking names left and right. He's currently in the round of 4 of GSL, where he could score a lot more points. If he wins this tournament here and has a good run in the GSL, most likely win it, you know, is what he needs, ideally. He could be that Cinderella story that I think there has to be a Cinderella story every year, and somebody that qualifies just at the last minute, and I think he might be that guy here.
And now that we know what the stakes are, we get the chance to see that all players have an impossible group to win. As we look at Group A, every single match is going to be a difficult one. We have Bomber, Dong Regu, SOS, Trap. All these players, again, each had at least one championship. There's something like 35 first places among all the players here at the event. And in this group, if I had to pick one player to win it, I honestly think SOS is a pretty straightforward choice. He is very consistent when he goes international. He's used to these high-pressure situations, and we know he's hungry for a first-place win this year. Not
much faith in our old schoolers here, so to speak, with Bomber and Dong Regu, who are a little bit older?
Well, I mean, with Bomber and Dong Regu, they are very interesting stories in that they were all, winning everything at the start of Wings of Liberty way back in 2010, 2011. But then they both had a little bit of a slump. Bomber has definitely come back in a completely different fashion. His play style is very unorthodox. He still uses marine tanks, very different compositions from other people. Dong Regu is one of those players who sort of slipped under the radar. Like you said, he's in top 8 in GSL. and he's gotten into GSL like 14 times in a row, but he still has not really broached into that finals position in a long time.
SOS and Trap, though, they have the age going for them, and most of all, they have the race. They play Protoss. So.
Protoss, I hear, is a good race, right, Todd?
Yes.
Let's take a look at Group B. This is the remaining 4 players in this event. Again, 8 players. Every single game will be broadcast. We have Pult, who I know is a big crowd favorite. Scarlet, who is a big crowd favorite. We have Parting, who's a big crowd favorite. And then we have Cure, who, if you like to stay up till 2 in the morning and watch Pro League, you've seen plenty of him for the Jin Air Green Wings. He is a regular there, but this is one of his first times at one of these weekend-long international tournaments.
I mean, be it in the GSL or any tournament he enters these days, Cure, I feel, is like the new innovation. He's so good. You watch him play and you're like, oh my God, this guy's
crisp, yeah.
Literally no weakness. Against Terran, he crushed everybody he played in the, I think, Yoda and Pulse. Against Protoss, he beat Zest in the GSL, doesn't really get any better than that. And against Zerg, he just won his quarter final against a very strong Zerg. So, I mean, does this guy really have a weakness? I feel for me he's going to be the favorite to win this group and maybe the whole thing.
He's both the Cinderella story and the man with no weakness. You're putting so much pressure on him already.
Yes, he's everything we ever dreamed of, basically. Maybe.
Well, I mean, if he can break through, he'll get his chance to win some of the $50,000 that are on the line this weekend. If we take a look at the prize pool breakdown, it's $20K for first, $10K for second, $6K for third, and so on, which means the deeper you get, the higher the stakes go. And it really can't be understated, the magnitude of those WCS points.
Yeah, it's very important. We've talked about it a little. For some players more than for others. Like some of them actually, I don't think they can make it, especially because they're still, they're not in anymore, you know, in their current WCS regional season. But yeah, the points actually, they most essentially translate into more money, which is everything these players practice and play for here. So making it to BlizzCon, winning here, ideally is what any of them would like to be able to achieve, and it's gonna take some great play. Whoever wins here is gonna have to be playing the best StarCraft he ever has in his life.
And it's also gonna mean that we get to watch some of the best StarCraft we've ever gotten to see in our life, starting literally now. There is not even gonna be a break between this show and getting into game number 1, which will be a game that sounds like it's from the wrong era. It's Bomber versus Dong Rei Gu up on the main stage. I'm thrilled. This was a rivalry that began in the early days of MLG, that continued in the early days of the GSL, and now here we get to see it live on the main stage. And get this, Todd, people can participate. If you want to use your usual hashtags and your usual @Twitter accounts, it's @Red Bull Esports, #Battlegrounds, but you can get on your phone. You can go to redbullbattlegrounds.com. There's going to be polls running all weekend long. You can get on your computer, you can get on your phone. I don't know why I took my phone out. I think you know what a phone is, but here, for any of you, for any Amish viewers who are amazingly watching this right now, this is a phone and you can vote on it. Our very first question is going to be, who do you want to win, Dong Rei Gu or Bomber? We're going to have tons of polls throughout the weekend, and we would love to know what you think. So without any further ado, let me again warmly welcome you all to Red Bull Battlegrounds DC, the final event of the 2014 Red Bull Circuit. Before we hop into game number 1, you may have been a fan of Dong Rei Gu in the early days, but you may not have heard from him recently. Let's check out what he had to say before this match.